One of the greatest obstacles was how to transform uranium into the plutonium the Soviets so badly needed as a fuel for the bomb. Klaus Fuchs gave them the answers.
He said, here is the material about the production of plutonium. It will be produced in wind scale. He said, now you have everything to produce atom bomb. He said, but I understand that you and me, we are treading field full of mines, one wrong step and we will blow up to bits. And I am ready to sacrifice my life.
Protected only by canvas, the Soviets could now start to build their first nuclear reactor. Inside, they followed Fuchs's instructions to the letter, assembling layers of graphite rods to control the speed of the nuclear chain reaction, which would turn uranium into plutonium. The moment of truth was at hand. Failure could mean death at the hands of the KGB. Kurchatov's reactor is still on view 2 floors underground. In memory of the first Soviet atomic pioneers, the reactor is started once a year. The clock is kept at 5:59 p.m., the exact moment one evening in 1946 when Russia's first nuclear reactor began to produce plutonium. Kurchatov's men had taken a giant step forward, but they soon faced a new danger. A backlash against any form of innovation was sweeping through Soviet science, led by the reactionary Trofim Lysenko.
Lysenko was kind of tsar or dictator in Soviet biology. And instead of studying real science, he sometimes created theories, sometimes wild theories, and he was able to kind of explain them in such a way that for some political leaders they looked as very convincing.
Lysenko's theories whipped Stalin into a fervor against any new developments in science. The first casualty, genetics.
All people who did fight against Lysenko, they've been arrested and disappeared. So this already created atmosphere of fear.
It didn't take long for Lysenko to switch his gaze from biology to physics.
They tried to declare that Einstein theories of relation between mass, energy, and space and so on also are idealistic, and this made nuclear scientists vulnerable because they've been working on the basis of all these theories.
But even Stalin had to bow to the superior knowledge of his physicists.
В биологии же он считал себя специалистом, он же там в своем саду там какие-то гибриды выращивал. А тут насчет физики он уже, даже он не претендовал на то, что он понимает. И тут есть где-то рассказ, как ему дали плутоний потрогать, а плутоний горячий, теплый. И он очень подозрительно к этому относился, думал, что нет ли там чего-нибудь внутри, в общем, что-то в таком духе.
Курчатов обратился к Сталину и просто и сказал, что если будет разгром физики как биологии, то Советский Союз не будет иметь атомной бомбы. Ну и гонения прекратились.
The project was saved. Kurchatov appointed his friend and colleague, Yuli Hariton, to run the atomic labs at Artemis 16. 2 years after Stalin's ultimatum, the Soviets had the technology and raw materials to make an atom bomb. A young engineer, Boris Smagin, was ordered to the new site in 1947.
Мы были патриоты в лучшем смысле этого слова. Более того, почти все, кто тогда со мной вместе работал, это были люди, прошедшие фронт. Поэтому для меня лично это было продолжение моей военной работы.
Much of the technology was salvaged from the military in a bid to save time and costs. Kurchatov's team knew they had to build the atom bomb in the next 3 years, or else. Corners were cut. sometimes fatally.
Моя работа всегда связана с невероятными напряжениями. Ну, обязательно что-то в последний момент приходилось решать, чего-то не хватало. То я обычно очень много, мы десятки, например, взрывов делали. То есть очень большое количество. И когда делается большое количество таких опасных работ, то легко ошибиться просто. Ну, просто вот опасность потенциальная существует. Но на самом деле были очень чувствительные капсуля. Вот, то есть достаточно, ну вот заряд, который находится на теле человека, был достаточно, чтобы взять его в руки, и он взорвался. И это действительно реально происходило.
No cost was too great. In the decades that followed, many of the scientists paid the price of working with untested radioactive materials.
Лаборатория, где я вот делал одну из деталей, скажем так, атомной бомбы, была расположена в отдельном корпусе, был 6-й корпус, на окраине всей территории, потому что мы работали с довольно опасными веществами, вследствие чего большинство сотрудников нашей лаборатории, к сожалению, рано погибло. И осталось вот нас двое сейчас живых, я и Люба Бриш.
By July 1949, the team at Arzamas was ready to test the bomb. At a Politburo meeting a few days before the test, someone asked Stalin what would happen if the bomb failed. His reply, "We can always shoot the scientists."
Вообще ситуация была очень тяжелой. Если бы первая бомба не взорвалась, то, скорее всего, всю эту группу могли расстрелять или, во всяком случае, посадить. И у них уже была запасная команда. Уже там, в Арзамас.
At the test site, project leaders Hariton and Kurchatov waited anxiously. With less than 10 minutes to go, Beria turned to Kurchatov and said, "Nothing will come of it, Igor." He was wrong.
Мы сделали экспериментальную вещь и передали его, естественно, для серийного производства. Поэтому было чувство облегчения, чувство очень большой радости за то, что мы сделали, и гордости за нашу науку, за наших руководителей, за нашу страну.
Kurchatov's team had done a good job for the motherland. Inside the museum at Arzamas 16, they keep a replica of the first Soviet atomic bomb. It was identical to the bomb dropped by the Americans on Nagasaki, and it had been delivered 1 year ahead of Stalin's deadline. In the aftermath of the explosion, it was time for celebration and the granting of awards. Beria decided that those who would have received maximum prison sentences if the bomb had failed would receive the Order of Lenin. Those who would have been shot would now become heroes of socialist labor, like the project's leaders, Kurchatov and Hariton. News of the Soviet bomb reached the West even before it was announced in the Soviet Union.
Announcement that Russia had the atom secret caused state departments all over the world to stir.
The American response came from a Hungarian refugee.
We must conclude that 10 years from now, Russia will be way ahead of us. I say that this will happen, not unless we do this or that. I simply say it will happen.
As the Soviets tightened their grip on Eastern Europe, Edward Teller saw Russian communism as the new threat to world peace. In response, he wanted to build a superweapon to keep the communists at bay. Till now, both sides had relied on fission, splitting plutonium atoms to release energy. Teller's idea was to fuse hydrogen atoms together to make a bomb of unlimited power. Afraid of being left behind, Stalin ordered the KGB to find out about Teller's research into the new weapon.